Hello, dear friends. Today I'm going to talk about the search for happiness and pleasure. In the Enneagram teachings, that is the Enneatype 7, the pattern, the fixation, and the ego ideal, what we're looking for when we are caught in this pattern, which is often called the Enthusiast, is we are looking for true satisfaction, true inner positivity, happiness, joy, pleasure. Like life is okay. Life is not only okay, it's fantastically okay. It feels good to exist. It's a good feeling. It's a heart quality of amazing. Just to be alive is enough. Nothing special has to be there. Just this being in existence, to be here, to breathe, to sense the body, to see the sky, to see a cloud. It's all good. So greetings from outside Oslo. I'm just back from a 3-week journey in Morocco, which was a very beautiful country to travel in, and such a contrast. Scandinavia, Morocco, everything is different. And I like this mirror to use traveling as a way to see myself. There's a quote, I don't remember who said it, but the quote is, "There are no foreign lands, only the traveler is foreign." So I am the one who becomes a foreigner when I travel to anywhere in Morocco. And then I can look at my own foreignness to myself, like question it. As you know, our work in Zen Coaching is about being curious from the heart, to basically understand what this life is, what this existence is, and to connect deeper with a deeper reality, a deeper truth. Like all spiritual paths, we are looking for a deeper reality, a deeper truth to this existence that we are, this miraculous, magical, strange, weird, magical fact, the fact that we exist. I could have called this video "In Search of Happiness." In which way are you searching for happiness? What is happiness? So I often say life is such a mystery, such a magic, such an incredibleness that we exist, that I can be here. I'm sitting outside, sorry about some sounds coming from nature, from cars. But it's such a beautiful late summer day, early autumn. So in a way, it's extra beautiful. And it gives me extra satisfaction just to walk around this garden, which is here, the flowers, the trees, the apples, the grass, the blue sky, the sun, the trees. There's a huge, beautiful tree here. So there's this inner joy of being in this magical show. Then another day, it's dark, it's cold, it's windy, it's rainy. Maybe you didn't sleep so well. Maybe you're a bit stressed about something. What about joy and happiness in this moment? So the teaching of the keys to the Enneagram, keys to the heart, about happiness, about inner okayness, is about connecting with the presence of the moment, irrespective of outer circumstances. And discover that if I am really present in my experience fully, I'm tired, didn't sleep well, there's some worry about something I need to do I don't feel confident about, or don't feel I have enough time, or I have a conflict with somebody which is not resolved, there is a disturbance in my heart, I don't feel happy. I don't feel like a big smile on my face and life is so great and fantastic. But the teaching on the key to find happiness in every moment is to discover, to realize, to connect with the fact that when I am in presence, even if what I am in touch with, the content of my experience, is a kind of suffering, pain, sleepiness, tiredness, worry, frustration, fear, painful states, if I am truly in those experiences, I'm with them and I am in presence, I am in conscious awareness of where I am as a human being in this moment, on this miraculous planet, there is a kind of pleasure. I am in reality. I am in touch with myself. It is authentic. I am authentically here in my experience, and this is true pleasure, the pleasure of being. And there is a kind of a joy, a silent satisfaction, like I'm okay even in my suffering. So as you can see, this is quite different from how we normally operate. Normally, we operate from the idea that happiness means I feel light, I feel love, I feel peace, I feel energy, I feel motivation, I feel passion, I'm having these wonderful feelings inside. And when the opposite is the case, something is wrong and I need to fix it, I need to change the circumstances, I need to fix myself, I need to do something, I need to make a change. This is the ego pattern of the 7. There are 9 major ego patterns, and this pattern is sometimes called ego planning. We can also call it, after Ross Hudson, futuring. I become busy with the future because the future will give me a different situation which will give me better feelings. And the future can be in 1 year. When I finish this job, I have 1 year left in this job. Or it can be in 5 minutes. When I walk in there, I put on a coffee, I go sit down in the sun, I call a friend, I have a good coffee, I will feel better. So I'm futuring. My mind is like, how can I get away from this moment and into the good moment? The good moment can be in 5 seconds. I'm restless, I'm bored, I'm lonely. I pick up this one. You know this one? So any discomfort, I pick up this one. That was a funny cat video, or that was a nice message from a friend, or maybe I can write somebody, or maybe I can listen to it. You know this? I know it all too well from my own pattern. Like, I am rejecting this moment of loneliness, of restlessness. My mind sees the phone or feels the phone in my pocket. I pick it up. I reach for it. I'm taking action to change my feeling to a better feeling. I'm escaping. I'm escaping restlessness, boredom, frustration, loneliness, and I'm creating a different feeling. Then I'm disconnecting from my inner state, and I'm providing some kind of happiness from the outside. And it can work. It can work. Just like a glass of wine, it can work. It can make you relax. Or talking with a friend. I feel better afterwards. Oh, I was connected with somebody for 10 minutes. I feel better. In fact, if you look at your life and ask yourself, how many of the present moments are you busy futuring? 5 seconds, 5 hours, 5 days? Are you busy navigating, orienting yourself towards the future and a better state? In fact, if we look deeply, we see that this is a fundamental aspect of our egoic self. It is never satisfied with the present moment fully. It is never fully here. The moment we are fully in this here-ness of here, without preference, without futuring, and totally experiencing this moment as it is, without rejection, without hope for the future, without judgment, in that moment, the ego mind is not here. The ego mind, the egoic personality, structures, and nature needs future, needs past. It lives as this dance between past and future, and this present moment doesn't even exist. I reach out for some coffee. It's cold, but it's tasty. Was I escaping something with this coffee? No. I saw it. I wanted a sip. I was enjoying the moment before, sharing with you. Now I'm enjoying the coffee. Where does the pleasure come from? Tasting the coffee or looking at the blue sky. Where does the pleasure come from? Does it come from the blue sky? Does it come from the coffee? The deeper reality is all pleasure comes from within. It is a state, a manifestation of my essence, of presence, of consciousness. My consciousness is in the form of pleasure. And as we practice presence, by honoring presence, by stopping, noticing, allowing, fully experiencing, including space, stop, notice, allow, even allowing the resistance, fully experience, include space. That's practice of presence, or awakening to the presence. We may get in touch with painful things, and that is why we don't naturally do this, because if we do it, we might notice the feelings are not great inside. They are restlessness, they are anger, they are fear, they are loneliness, they are contractions, they are maybe guilt, shame, feeling of deadness, feeling of lack. And the lack can be terrifying. Like, I feel dry inside. I feel like there is no joy, love, or happiness inside. I feel like a dead, dry, terrible object, empty of juicy aliveness. So why would I want to practice stop, notice, allow, if those are my inner states? The ego the personality will not do that. It is in the nature of personality, of ego self, to go into futuring or to think about the past. So we call this external orientation. So external orientation may be oriented at my feelings, like I don't want to feel this. If I go for a run, I put on my running shoes, I go for a run, I will feel better. So the orientation is, I want to change my feeling through running. Both the running and wanting to change my feeling is external orientation. I'm externally oriented in the sense I'm future oriented. I'm looking outside, I'm looking away from my inner experience in this moment. I am operating from rejecting. The engine of the ego self is rejection, hope, and desire. Rejection, hope, and desire. It's like the inner engine of our personality structures. So the pleasure, which is the key to resolve this eternal striving for happiness, and as we get it from the outside, from a person, from a place, there's this fear of losing it, and we will lose it because life is change. So it's never a settled happiness. It's not the happiness that comes from our own nature, purely. The 7 pattern is very strongly oriented at creating energy and aliveness and good feelings from the outside, from people, places, and things and events. So always on the go, always, what can I do? What can I consume? Who can I meet? Where can I be to feel good, to feel alive, to feel energy? So these, when we are in this pattern, and those who have that as a dominating pattern, are like happy, joyful people, life of the party, fun to be around, enthusiastic, curious, open, attractive people. We want to be around them. In a way, they are the opposite of 4. A 4 pattern is like, I enjoy gloominess because I think that is depth. I'm attached to a certain melancholy and drama and suffering because I believe by doing that I am deep, I'm more authentic. So it's not the case that just by focusing or feeling your suffering or pain, I am more authentic, necessarily. Whatever comes from ego self is inauthentic. Authentic is to be consciously in my present moment experience without preference, without goal, without attachment, without rejection, and without hope. I'm fully here, open, curious, inquiring. Stop, notice, allow, fully experience, include space. So as let's say I meet a 7 personality type, somebody who's dominated by this pattern, I'm attracted by this positivity, this enthusiastic, alive, passionate type, and I start a relationship. And after some time, I get a bit frustrated and bored in this relationship because this person, who is my partner now, seems to always be on the way and seems to be a lot in his or her mind. It's like, I get tired of this positivity. I get tired of this next thing, next idea, talking, and going. It's like, stop. Can we just be here? Breathe and have no goals and connect with the moment and meet whatever is here, if it's joy or pain, and be authentic. It's very hard for the 7 pattern, the 7 type, because the fear of meeting pain and suffering is huge. The greatest fear of the 7 pattern is pain and suffering. Pain and suffering is a mistake. It's wrong. It has to be fixed. It has to be avoided at all costs. Why? Because inside there is a barrenness. It's like being in a desert. True pleasure is not available inside. Instead, there is the whole of pleasure, the black. And this is like a dry, barren, desert-like feeling that I don't have any juice inside. So, as often is the case, the external presentation that we give to the world shows the opposite of what is our more authentic inner experience. So you look at the enthusiast, the life of the party. If you look at, well, what's the opposite of this personality? The opposite is it's a very disconnected, alienated, empty, barren, dry, fearful state. That is the inner reality when we are displaying this external life of the party energy, aliveness. Any recognition? We all have it. And we're all shocked when we read in the newspaper this comedian, this successful person, actor, happy person committed suicide or was a drug addict. Right? What? This person? The last one, I imagine. But it makes a lot of sense when we see that our personality structure, our egoic reality, is often the opposite of our inner truth. So, another aspect of our personality, egoic nature, is the tendency of splitting. We separate one from the other, like good from bad, pain from pleasure, right from wrong. Everything is either this or that. And then we're desiring this and rejecting that, or desiring that and rejecting this, So 2 people with opposite personality types, like a 7, a 4. So the 7 will idealize pleasure and happiness, and the 4 will idealize melancholy and drama and suffering. Suffering artist. There is equal suffering in both these positions. It's the display on the outside is different. Each Enneagram type, each of the 9 personality types, is a way we suffer. What it looks like on the outside, that's something else. So when we work with people, we are a coach, we don't pay too much attention to the outside. I mean, we don't take it too seriously. If somebody smiles, if somebody cries, that's an outer display. And as a coach, as a supporter, it's not where we should keep our attention. Like, that is just an outer display we want to look behind. What we show to ourselves and others first is our external, our surface. Behind is our vulnerability. So we have the external surface, the surface of who we are. Inside, there is a layer of vulnerability that we generally don't show too much to ourselves or others. Behind the vulnerability, generally, is our most feared states, the holes. that most people are not even aware exists there. So deeper than vulnerability is like a terrible fear of these holes, because the holes are like death. So for the ego to enter those holes is dying. And that is why in spiritual traditions, ego death is a necessary part of the journey. And in the teaching we follow here in Zen Coaching, in Diamond Approach, it is not one ego death. There are dozens of ego deaths. There are small ego deaths, large ego death. There is an ego death for each essence quality. So for the joy essence, the yellow essence, it's called the yellow death. It is when you come to a point in life where nothing external gives you satisfaction. It's like I've had this experience. I remember I was looking forward to my winter trip to Cape Town this some years ago, 6 years ago. You know, preparing, buying the ticket, booking my Airbnb apartment, packing my kite surfing equipment and my, sun cream, lotion and everything. I arrive in Cape Town in, I don't remember when, but let's say December. I go from this dark, cold Norway. I land in perfect climate Cape Town. I go to my beach, find my nice apartment. Like, wow, I'm just gonna enjoy kite surfing in perfect climate and everything I like about Cape Town. And the next day I find myself in completely unhappy, lonely, uninspired, frustrated, nothing, wanting to do nothing, depressed. And it's extra painful to be depressed in paradise. Like, this is my paradise, this kite beach in Cape Town, one of my paradises. And to be, holiday, have money, time, your favorite activities, good people it's like extra painful to be unhappy. But since I knew, okay, life is giving you this Kåre because you need to face it. So I said, okay, what to do? So I spent the next 5 days just hanging out and exploring and allowing this state and escaping and noticing how I escape. So an inquiry, and then something shifted. I could have gone even deeper. I don't think I went all the way to the deepest level of ego death, the yellow death, but I tested it, and I've tested it many times. I have this 7 pattern strongly, as most people. It's not my number 1 pattern, but it's definitely there. And it is very scary to go deep into the yellow death, to go into the hole of 7, or the barren emptiness inside your soul, your body, your heart. So joy is a heart quality. The center is just above the left nipple, according to Almaas. Anyway, it's a heart quality, the joyful, happy heart. And the lack of that quality is like an unhappy, deeply unhappy soul. Barren, desert-like, dry, empty. Who wants to feel that? However, as we have explored for years and years, or at least for some time, it is when we're ready to go and stay with even the most challenging places that we feel honest with ourselves. We feel real. We feel true, and there is a pleasure in that. So if we are able to stay with the authentic experience, even when it's very difficult, there is a kind of pleasure in that. In the teaching of Almaas, this dimension of the pleasure of being is called the Markaba. The Markaba is like a chariot, like a wagon. And it's like a rich field of pleasure where all the different aspects of being show themselves in their pleasurable positivity. So it's not just the yellow essence, the joy essence. It is the satisfaction, the okayness of truth, of strength, of passion, of compassion, and of presence itself, irrespective of content. The pleasure of being honestly in presence with and as what I am, even when it's very difficult, painful, unsatisfying for the ego. So it's not just about meeting my whole so that it transforms into the essential quality, the alchemy of the heart. Because if we think of it like that yes, if I am able to meet my whole, then it will transform and I will be filled with essence and then I will feel good. It's true, but that whole attitude, what kind of attitude is it? I will do my spiritual practice so that I fix myself and feel better. Now, what did we start with? That is the essence of the ego mind. Every spiritual practice can be taken by the ego mind and turned into another doing, another effort of futuring, of trying to achieve the good feelings and avoid the bad feelings. The great way, this is an old classic Zen text. The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. It is by stepping beyond preferences, even beyond the preference of having no preferences. Beyond the desire to be free of desires. So I notice there is a preference, a desire, an attachment, a hope and rejection. I'm aware of it and I include it. Every spiritual teaching, the mind turns into an ego ideal, easily. Watch out. And drags us into a kind of spiritual materialism or spiritual bypassing. Oh, I've been practicing meditation and healing and therapy for so many years and still I can feel depressed and shameful, guilt and unhappy and lack of passion. Oh, I'm such a failure. Oh my God. Any recognition in that? Whatever is your state in this moment, that is the truth of this moment. And spiritual practice is to be interested in the truth of this moment for its own sake. Because truth is truth, reality is reality, and there is a satisfaction in being real, being authentic, being here. I'm not saying that's easy, so the spiritual path is not easy. It goes against everything. My experience is, the longer I've been practicing inquiry, meditation, healing, the more I realize how strong egoic structures, personality structures are. How much I'm still identified and get identified and live from this futuring, pain avoidant, egoic reality, seeking pleasure, avoiding pain. So for the ego, there is pleasure and pain. And naturally, we are seeking pleasure over pain. It's also to see that survival our survival instinct is based on that impulse. Like a baby is seeking the pleasure of the tit full of warm milk and is angry with the lack of a tit or the empty tit, the good tit, the bad tit. From the very beginning, our whole structure of survival is oriented at pleasure. So to discover this other kind of pleasure, if we have the pleasure and pain of ego, we're talking about a pleasure of presence, which is beyond this duality. It includes the pleasure and pain of ego. The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. My survival instinct will have a preference for pleasure. My spiritual nature will be able to embrace that tendency, which probably will always be there, and honor it and see it as something beautiful, but not see it as the ultimate goal of existence, because we will fail. We will get old, sick, and we will die. That is why part of the spiritual journey is to come to terms with death before we physically die. Die before you die, so that when you die, there will be no death, or at least no fear of death. Our survival instinct is going to fail, but as long as we're alive, it will continue to operate, and it's beautiful how each biological organism is driven to live, to expand. Spiritually, life is about something more than that. What else do I want to say? Every fixation of the personality is resolved through some kind of practice of presence. That is why mindfulness, breathing, sensing the body, being here is the solution to every issue in life. Presence, disconnection from presence is the root cause of all problems. And reconnecting with presence is the solution, resolution to all problems in life. Now, reconnecting with presence can happen only now, only in this moment. If I think it's going to happen tomorrow, I am avoiding, I'm escaping. Oh, but tomorrow I'm going to practice presence, but now I'm too stressed. No. That's the delusion, that's the excuse. Where is your loyalty? Where is my loyalty? Is my number one loyalty in life to be connected with the truth of the moment? If I have any other number one loyalty, I will sabotage presence, and I will have my loyalty in my ego mind. What are you most loyal to in life? What is your number one loyalty? Where is my number one loyalty? Of course, again, the answer can only be given now, because maybe in this moment, I'm fully loyal to face myself and truth as it is. And next moment, I forget. But the moment I see that I have forgotten, I can return. Self-remembrance, Gurdjieff called it, the practice of self-remembrance. It's really a commitment. We don't need to commit to sitting in the morning or yoga in the morning or anything. We need to commit, first of all, to having presence as our number one priority in life, in every moment. From that loyalty, from that commitment, from that wisdom, from that awareness, realization, other choices follow. So what then about, does it matter if I'm hungry in a polluted city, alone with no friends, or sitting in a beautiful place, beautiful nature with good friends? Does it matter how I create my life? That's a good question, huh? It depends. It's a bit paradoxical. Like the law of attraction is so easily adopted by the ego mind, by the 7 pattern. In a way, it is by completely accepting the situation and not wanting any change or not needing any change that I discover the pure joy of being, and from that there is a natural unfoldment of manifesting good things for myself and others. In fact, the shift will focus more on to be a contribution to pleasure and self-connection in the world for others, not so much to create the perfect circumstances for me. Oh, I want to have that house by that beach and not work more than 2 hours per day, and I want to have this relationship situation and this financial situation, and that's okay, but where am I coming from? Am I coming from an escape and a 7 egoic pattern? Or am I coming from this costless joy that I am in my nature already, without any of that manifesting, and then creating and contributing costless joy? So looked at from the outside, you cannot know where somebody is coming from, because somebody may have created that dream life, but it is from the egoic personality, most likely from that place, or it is from a true place inside, essence, essential reality. And the focus is on the well-being of all beings. It's not on me, I, me and my life, me and my happiness, me and my success, me and my avoidance of pain. Okay, there's a lot to say. If we take a breath, here I am. I welcome myself just as I am in this moment. That is the healing sentence that takes us into presence. And then we can bring that into our meeting with others, and especially if we work with people, that is what we offer, and that is what we invite people to discover as a possibility inside themselves. The joy, the happiness, the okayness, the pure positivity of presence itself, irrespective of situation, circumstances, feelings, content of mind, etc. Satnam. Have beautiful now.